I paid all their bills while my BF played PC games, then his mom assaulted me to steal my dog, so I moved out in 4 hours and blocked them. No more free money. My boyfriend, M26, and I, F28, had to move out of our apartment back in August 2025 due to financial reasons such as job loss. And we're planning on moving into and renting his parents' old house since they had just bought a new one. Come to find out 2 or so weeks before we're set to move, we were mostly packed by then. That change of plans, his parents were no longer together, and his father would be staying in the old house instead. Our options were either the basement of the old house or a room/basement of the new one. We chose the new house and moved in pretty quickly. As of today, we still only have access to one room for reasons I can explain later if anyone is interested, but it's not important right now. Back in October-ish, both of his parents sat us down and explained we needed to get jobs to help out. Now, originally his mother had said we could stay at her house and save up for a new place once we were back on our feet. No plan of how much we would contribute was ever discussed. It was all very vague and sounded more like they just wanted us to save up and move more quickly, if anything. This family has a habit of being extremely vague when discussing anything of importance. BF even has issues telling details of previous conversations when I ask BC, "Why is that important?" or "We didn't discuss that." I was able to pass a licensing test I had been studying for previously and landed a job interview for November 2025 at the local hospital for my profession. The decision-making process for said interview took a while and I didn't end up starting work until mid-January 2026, but I have been working consistently since then and paying off debt as I go. BF was in the process of renewing his license, but needed to take a certain amount of hours of classes in order to do so, which he has been doing painfully slowly, self-paced classes. To this day, he still has not completed that task and remains unemployed. He has high amounts of stress and likes to relax by playing PC games, which I get. BC, I too love PC games, and we often game together, but he will play all day until I get home and then switch over to his classes. Sometimes, and more often only if I bring it up. Now, for what's happened most recently. His mother and I got into a confrontation over a dog that came to live with us in January shortly before I started working. Petra, the dog, almost immediately started clinging to me and would follow me everywhere. At a family dinner, his father and sister even acknowledged that she was basically my dog and had chosen me by how she never wanted to leave my lap. His mother worked most days then and wasn't home often, so I got a lot of quality time with the pup. She later lost her job due to health reasons and has been unable to start a new one yet, and since I am mostly working now, Petra spends the days with her in the living room until I come home. Petra sleeps with us at night as well, and her food and puppy pad is in our room. It has recently come to my attention that his mother was not using a leash when taking Petra outside to play. I brought this up to her and requested that she use one when she takes Petra outside. She took this as a personal attack on her skills in training dogs/intelligence. I tried to explain that I wasn't at all saying anything about her personally, just that accidents can happen and we live on a fairly busy road. Road in front of the house turns from highway to town right in front, so speed limit is 55 miles per hour and then drops to 40 miles per hour somewhere in front of the house. She could not comprehend this and instead got heated and called me a child and that I wasn't going to say it, but she knew what I meant, etc. Somewhere during this I asked her if Petra was her dog as she was not listening to my wishes, and she responded vaguely that it was up to me whose dog she was, but wouldn't give me a straight answer. BF was there for the fight, but he hates confrontation, so he was trying to tell both of us to shut up essentially and move on. Eventually, I realized there was absolutely no convincing this woman that I wasn't attacking her personally and disengaged. We were on our way outside. BCBF had spent the day making a fire pit with spare bricks from the yard for our 5-year anniversary that day, so we headed to the backyard. Obviously, I was a bit distressed and frustrated, so I took a seat by the pit and tried to calm down. I texted my mom. BC, I needed someone to talk to about the situation that wasn't my BF. BC, he is biased towards his family pretty hard and was already upset with me for starting a fight. I decided pretty quickly that I wanted away from the whole situation for a while, so I asked him if he could get my purse and jacket from the house, so I didn't have to go back in, and we could have a fire the next day, since I had to work that day but would be off the next so we could stay up later for the fire. He agreed and came back out after a few minutes with my items, followed by his mother, who was still very angry and screaming that I couldn't take Petra anywhere in my car. I ignored her until she went inside, and then got in my car with Petra and drove to my mom's to talk with her and vent. I brought Petra back later that night, maybe 2 hours later, and went to sleep. Got up for work the next day as usual and left Petra in our room sleeping with BF as usual. I recently set up cameras in the room so I could check on Petra and BF and the room in general, as our door has no lock. I get a notification from the camera during my workday that a person was detected and look to see his mother opening our door and taking Petra from our room. Immediately, I'm furious at the invasion of privacy and call BF to talk to his mom and put Petra back in the room with him. I get no update until hours later that he is out in the living room with them and everything is fine, his words. I can't do anything until I get off work, but when I got home I immediately put my stuff in the room and then came back out and went straight for Petra on his mother's lap. She yelled at me and said I couldn't take Petra with me and put an arm around Petra to stop me from grabbing her. I went in any way to take her, and she pushed me down onto the floor and stood over me yelling. It escalated from there. I yelled at her about calling the police for assault if she ever touched me again and to never come into our room again. She yelled that Petra is her dog and goes where she says, and she has text messages showing where Petra was given to her specifically. BF has to physically put an arm between us and tries to calm us down, but he's not choosing a side and saying we were both in the wrong. Insults get thrown out. On his mother's side, I never once insulted her or her character, and she threatens to call the cops to have me removed and that I need to get my shit out now, and BF called her childish for some of the things she said. Petra is cowering behind her on the chair, so I start calling for her and she comes, of course, but is immediately snatched away by his mother. We were at a standstill for a while. I wanted Petra with me, and she wanted Petra with her. BF told me to go to the room. His mother also said that, but more in the way of, go to your room. She's F44 by the way, but I said not without Petra. And he said he'd be in there later with her, and I told him she better be in the room by tonight and left. I texted my family BC at this point. I'm convinced I've been kicked out and have nowhere to go and needed help, so I send out an SOS to try to figure things out. 9/10 p.m. BF comes in with Petra and explained that Petra has to spend the days with his mom and will come to the room to sleep with us at night. I'm obviously not happy, but I don't want to continue arguing, so we go to sleep. I'm off the next day, so I sleep in and block the door with something heavy just in case. We wake up maybe around 1 p.m. and BF says he got a text from his mom that Petra needed to be out of the room now. He pleads with me to just let her go out, and that it wasn't my dog anyway, and it's her house, her rules, and that's the proper thing to do. I'm absolutely heartbroken at this point. BC, he's siding with her and claiming I'm the problem in the situation. I try to show him how she's being petty and knows Petra means a lot to me and is weaponizing her to hurt me. BC, she thinks I said something I didn't. BF will hear none of this, almost like he couldn't possibly think of his mother like that, and says we're both being ridiculous and Petra is not my dog period and to just let her go. I don't remember how he convinces me, but she leaves to go out in the living room with his mom, and I don't get her again until that night. The next 2 days proceeds in this way, but on one of them Petra came into the room during his mother's allotted time, and she screamed at BF to get Petra out now, etc. I tried to make him see reason, that Petra wanted to be in here with me, but he didn't care. Her house, her rules, and she's not my dog, so suck it up basically. That hurt deeply. He said I crossed a line trying to get Petra from his mom's lap. He was in the other room when it happened and didn't see, and she claims she was defending herself. She was in no immediate danger as I was reaching for Petra and not her. That was about a week ago, and since then I have a tentative place to stay, but it hasn't been finalized yet, and there's also the issue of maybe getting Petra out of the house without his mother knowing when I move. I've come to realize at this point that she would have to formally evict me to get me out, and cops would tell her the same thing since I've been living here and get mail, established residency. I would like to get Petra microchipped so she is definitively mine. I even had a vet appointment set up for her shots when shit hit the fan, but couldn't go BC of BF's mother going bats hit anytime Petra is out of her sight. Things have escalated. Since BF's mother isn't working, she hasn't been paying the bills, and right before the fight BF said she asked him if he could ask me to contribute to any of them for her. He told me this after the fact, and I told him after what she said/done that she's not seeing a dime from me. I took back all of my things from mutual areas, dishes, mop and bucket as she didn't have one when we moved in, etc. BF said I'm trying to start fights and told me to drop it and let her do what she wants. I haven't spoken to her since that last fight, and I told him I would stand up for myself and the fact that Petra is my dog. I've also asked him over and over to talk to her if he wanted peace so bad. BC, she's the one perpetrating the situation by restricting Petra so harshly and disrespecting me. He claims he did talk to her, but it would take time and I needed to give him time to work things out and settle everything back down, and then maybe after time she'll let me have Petra again. Forgot to mention, she claims Petra is hers until BF and I find a place together, at which case Petra would move with us, but she was most definitely not my dog. Here's where I'm asking if I'm TH. I get a text from BF today asking if I can contribute anything. BC, everything is about to be shut off in a few days, and we were about to lose everything without help. He said his father was coming over today to talk with us all about what has been going on. I asked him what that meant, and he said about us not contributing to bills. I reminded him that I wouldn't be doing that after what had happened, and he kept pleading and begging and claiming he'd pay me back, with what money, and that I need to pay for the amenities I use too. Also forgot to mention his father is finding out soon, like 2 days out soon, if he has cancer or not, so that's why he can't help with the bills. BC, he has no money either right now. And of course that's been hard on BC. He is very close to his parents, and he's very sensitive to conflict of any kind. He claimed they weren't even mad about the dog thing, and it's really all about us not helping out, and asked me again if I could help. I told him I would absolutely not help, unless his mother stops with the restrictions and puts in writing that Petra is my dog. He told me to drop the dog thing and to do this for him, and really it would be him paying. BC, he'd be paying me back, again with what money? He claims I don't care about him or trust him, and that I don't get to make terms/conditions in this situation. He says that his dad had stormed off before I got home. BC, they were having a screaming match, and everyone was crying out in the front yard about the situation. Later discovered through BF that they had said some pretty shitty things to him about him not working and are using him to get to me essentially, like he needs to control me kind of thing. This was pried with much effort from BF, and he still hasn't told me fully what happened/what was said during the fight. I am sticking to my no, and when I got home today, he was very moody and depressed. He hasn't spoken more than a few words to me and expects me to change my mind to fix everything for him/them. He said he's even considering if we will make it through this conflict, as in we are essentially breaking up if I don't pay the bills. He sees this as me fucking him and his family over and not caring what happens. I told him I wasn't going to be financially manipulated into paying anything. He's currently sleeping on the couch alone. Has only come in to check on me to see if I've changed my mind. I haven't. So Ada for not wanting to pay the bills after all of this? I'm back with an update. The OG post got taken down in the Ada subreddit for cross-posting here, and so did the update for not asking for judgment, which I feel was implied, but whatever. Anyway, please judge away, so I've included it in this update for convenience. Update at end of post. Update. This was roughly a month ago. Since then, things have gotten worse. It had been really tense in the house. I would rarely come out of the room, and only if she had gone to bed for the night, so I didn't have to interact with her. I would also like to stress that getting Petra out of the house for any reason was extremely hard for me to do. I had to reschedule her vet appointment a few times. BF's mom would be home unexpectedly, or I wouldn't be able to leave work in time. I also would have to leave with her without BF knowing, which was also impossible. As the days went on, she seemed to loosen her rules to where Petra was spending whole days with me, which was nice, but also kinda shows that she's really only mad at me for standing up for myself and going against what she wants me to do, and not BC. She really cared about Petra being hers. I set up cameras in our room to catch her when she comes in to take Petra while I'm at work, which she hadn't done in a while due to me getting home before she did. She started a new job. That was until this past Friday. BF was gone from Thursday through Sunday on a camping trip with the men of his family, so he wasn't home. She must have gotten let out of work early because I got a notification on the camera of a person in the room. She had let Petra out. Because of the no contact I had with her, I would avoid talking to her when I got home on my later shifts, and because BF was the one who normally went and got Petra from her when she went to bed. This would mean she would most likely keep her for the weekend away from me. It's important to note that Petra has not once spent a night without me since we got her in January. Like I said, she is my dog. This infuriated me, obviously. When I got home that day, Petra greeted me at the door, not what I had expected. Usually BF's mom would have Petra in her lap and not let her go to me. I swooped down, grabbed her, and left. BF's mom followed me once she realized and yelled that I would be arrested for theft, but I ignored her and drove to my mom's house. Why this was the last straw for me. Why this made me realize my living situation was unsafe for both me and Petra, but it was. That night, I rented a U-Haul for the next day, rented a storage unit in town, and confirmed my 2 brothers and one of their friends would help me move. We definitely surprised her when we showed up. My first priority was my 2 cats I had left. Once I secured them, I went to walk out the door, but she stopped me and said I had better have everything I needed because I wouldn't be let back in. I know my rights as a resident, so I knew legally that wouldn't fly. The plan was to call the police if she gave us pushback during the move. So I pulled out my phone to call the non-emergent police line for help mediating, and while I was on the phone with them, she backed down and said she wouldn't lock the door, but that I would only have today, Saturday, to get all of my things out. I hung up my call. It was still going over the automated menu when she caved, and continued what I was doing. My brothers were busy loading up most of the boxes from when we had moved previously, kept in her garage, except for the ones that obviously contained my BF stuff. I boxed up the bedroom. We got it done in 4 hours, from U-Haul pickup to drop-off. I am now in a temporary living situation with all of my animals, Petra included. We are safe. I can walk to the kitchen and not have to worry about her being there. I can take my dog for walks and not worry if she would let me. Or attack me. Or yell at me. Nothing. I'm free. Petra has a vet appointment scheduled for my next day off, where she will be vaccinated, looked over, and microchipped. I am also registering her with the state. All legal ways to make sure she is once and for all my dog. Period. I am currently applying to every known pet-friendly apartment in town and hoping one of them won't care I've only been working for 3 months at my current job. I have money saved from refusing to give any to BF or his mom. He asked me for money on my birthday, by the way. Who does that? Also turns out BF's dad can help with bills and has been helping with bills. So the situation wasn't as dire as they were making it seem, I guess. BF requested he be kept out of the situation when his mom messaged him frantically on Friday when I took Petra. I obliged, and he had no idea I had moved out until he got home Sunday. Relationship is currently tentative. Possibly non-existent, but there's not been any closure yet as he only wants to talk about me bringing Petra back. Not happening. Everything is really fresh, and I'm still pretty scared until I have Petra officially registered to me, so I might be dragging that on until everything is confirmed. His mother claims she took out a protective order against me, ironic, and a lawsuit and claimed I would be served by Monday. I still haven't seen anything to do with that, so I'm thinking she was bluffing or it got dropped due to lack of evidence. Or maybe they can't find me. Who knows? But if it is real, I'll file to get both dismissed. So that's it. I'm scared, but I'm out. I understand the consensus was ESH or NTA. It was back and forth. You may not agree with how I handled things, but I'm just glad I'm out. And Petra is with me. Thank you for reading my novel of drama, LOL, sorry no TD, LR, this is too long to summarize. Overall with this update, Ada? TA.